Uncertainty is in the air tonight in South Omaha after that ICE operation.
Yeah, it's leaving many wondering what to do in situations like this. First Alert 6 reporter Johan Marin spoke to an immigration attorney. He joins us live along South 24th. Johan, what are they saying people should do here?
That's right, Brian and Aaron. The biggest piece of advice that the immigration attorney is telling people is to be proactive regardless of their legal status. While here on 24th Street, there's no confirmed ICE activity, you can still feel the uneasiness in the air. And this part of town doesn't feel as vibrant as it usually is. Now, some key points to remember that if you were to encounter an ICE agent, the immigration attorney says it's important to remember you are not required to answer questions regarding your immigration status. However, he advises non-citizens to carry immigration documents, but they're not required to show them unless asked by an ICE agent. Lastly, he is advising you to be cooperative. He also says everyone does have the right to remain silent and to refuse searches, and that if you were arrested, you can ask for an attorney. And regardless of immigration status, you are protected under the Constitution. In South Omaha, I'm Johan Marin, First Alert 6.
Johan, thanks. You can hear the activity all around him. Many